Okay, today is February 10th, 2026. The time is 7:22 a.m. and let's get started with today's video. Alright, this morning it's super rainy today. I don't mind to, I don't really mind that, thinking that rain could resemble some sort of heavy mortar strikes or something, but goodness, does it seem like we're bombarded with like insanity out here. It is a monsoon. I think a hurricane is passing by, more or less. So if I lose power, then I guess this video won't be uploaded. But I don't mean power in the strictest sense of like power as in like having some sort of invisible influence or authority over anybody, but like really it's just like it's really just stuff like that kind of like irk me, and other connotations to plain English that really resemble just clear conversation that can't really be spoken of in most social contexts unless it is required to, unless there's a requirement of like understanding that there's a need for the basics to just be covered again. And I'm not saying that that's a problem that many people are experiencing now, but a lack of human connection, it can be attributed to that, I think. That's just my judgment here. If I had any again authority or influence over the matter, then I think the use of plain English might now soon become irrevocably misplaced as some sort of method of communication. Because if plain English at this point in time, at least in my current surroundings, and at least in my mind, and with the feedback that I've been getting through schizophrenic inputs, it becomes very difficult for me to really just put into words how to make people understand or help people understand what it is that I am truly thinking. Because this goes against all social norms, and this goes against all conventional ways of thinking, because it isn't conventional thinking. Honestly, just straight up isn't. That, or people just are afraid to say it or speak up. And, I just want to, what I mean by that is speak up. Like, just, that's the idiomatic expression. I don't even know if it's an idiomatic expression. I say it matter of factly. I say that as some kind of like idiomatic expression as well. But communications are just so challenging sometimes, and really depends on like what kind of lens you look at it. I'm trying to like practice very clear English, precise English that kind of like lands every time, but no one knows how I talk, no one knows how I think. So, and having grown up, having consumed content that isn't primarily American English, I think that kind of has influences on that as well. People often underestimate like how much time I've been here in the States, and like being from an immigrant family, we don't not much is expected of us, because like we've only been here for what, like one generation. People don't expect us to have perfect mastery, even fluent English. And you know, what that means is like, it puts a lot of risk into investing into someone like myself. But I just work fucking hard, man. Like, I put in the work. I try to like develop the the whatever, but turns out I did a bit too much, and it's not respecting like who came first, like who immigrated here first, and or who existed here first. And now it's like suddenly a problem that I hadn't intended to see, like a side effect. And that's about as clear as I can be without saying the buzzword. But I don't want to say the buzzword. I don't want to say the buzzword. I think everyone knows what it is, or can pretend to know what it is. Because at this point, it just seems, honestly, just like profiling people. Profiling people in a way based on how they look, based on how they behave, based on how they communicate non-verbally as well. Like, I could talk about non-verbal communication, and that would take us forever to like come up with like any proper means of communication without seeming like a total robot. Like, do I just talk like this the entire time and hardly move my head, and like do the not move at all and not self-express? Like, goodness. How to be human again, 101. Let's go. Is AI destroying us? Perhaps. Is overwork destroying us? Perhaps. I don't know, man. It's humbling, but I just feel very unstable at the moment. Surprisingly, this is what instability looks like for most. This is what instability looks like for most. And if you can't pick up on the signs, then I'm sorry, man. Like, we have bigger problems. We have bigger problems. That's it. Mine is just not considered to be of utmost importance at the moment. How are we gonna fix the way people think if we can't? No, how are we gonna fix anything if we don't fix the way people think? If we just become more homogenized in our thinking, like, could we just try to behave with some homogeneity? You know, I don't know how else to pronounce that word, but like, gosh, was it awkward? Yes, but I still think like that sometimes. But to be perfectly honest, honesty is just a waste of time. Perfect honesty, I've tried. Then I realized, oh shoot, there could be other truths I could be hiding. To say that we're all liars as well is also another thing, but it's a lot of basic, fundamental, like, stuff, that universal truths that we find to be like required or necessary to, be a better people and stuff, particularly with people in my surrounding communities and whatnot. But yeah. Regardless, I think it's best to move on to another topic now, or not. My flow has been interrupted, so my flow of conversation. I'm not gonna go there because I hate that game. Obviously, we think of Yasuo from League of Legends, but the secondary energy bar. God, I hate that game. I'm not talking as an elitist, but goodness, does it feel good to pivot away from a game that seems a lot less vocal about issues, universal issues, or more absolutist problems. I hope that makes sense, but like, goodness, I'm using a lot of words that many people don't have any particular association with. That's why I think like that could be a particularly useful case here. Be useful in like allowing people to better, or not better. It's not better. It's just different. It's just different. You can call it weird or abnormal, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to handle at the moment, but I just hope it makes sense because I just care so much about just like the whatnots and like the unheard and the people who don't even know themselves. That makes any sense? But yeah, yeah. There's a lot of things that just culminate to like that just like kind of like come together as like some form as some form of a full product of a person or communication. I think I don't know, dude. Communication is, yeah, it's everything. It's kind of crazy though, but how misunderstood people can be without a voice, and how many barriers to entry there are just to like get your ideas out there on the internet. I'm a byproduct of such because I don't think I am qualified personally to like make a video tutorial on how OBS works. And that doesn't mean I'm gatekeeping. I'm aware of it, but like, sure, yeah. How about I just turn the fuck around and just say, yeah, I mean you gatekeeping by increasing barriers to entry to this particular industry. And because I don't know how to, because like I think I needed like some kind of like virtual workspace, virtual like window in Windows in Windows fucking like operating system. And that's what frustrates me. It's just like the use of technology without it being like understood. And I feel like if that's the basics nowadays and people can't grapple that, maybe it's best to leave their information out. Leave it to them. Leave it to them to find out. Then I'm confronted with a serious problem that now my English could be affecting the local dialect. Goodness, does that seem not okay? Because like other people are at risk of picking up verbiage or vernacular that people don't usually use. So it's just like it becomes a bit much. It becomes a bit much and overwhelming for just one individual or even everyone to consider because it's just plain schizophrenia. At the end of the day, it's delusional. It's countercultural. I don't know, but like I hate that word sometimes. Hate that word. Yeah. It's too fucking powerful, that word. Way too powerful. But the use of plain English also warrants some sort of understanding that some key words are actually search queries for Google. That's how you create a rabbit hole, really. That's how rabbit holes are created. It's just like Googling the right terms, and people don't know how to use Google and search queries, search prompts. Nowadays, you can search anything for anything, but like, But it's just like, why have this problem to begin with if it was better off never having existed at all? It's just like creating new problems from new problems and stuff. But there's an underlying condition that remains that that I think I will keep unaddressed here because it becomes too deep for me to understand. But yeah, I guess everyone knows what I'm talking about is the weirdness that is adopting a language that I am ultimately unfamiliar with. It's a language that I love, sure, but personally, like, it's up to you to whether or not you want to, like, exercise that, but it remains some kind of truth in there. Some kind of truth, but is it a niche truth? Yes, absolutely a niche truth. I don't know, but I'm just gonna say yes or no questions because, like, there's just the simplest answer. Usually, when I ask a question, anyways, it's just like I ask these questions. Usually I just say yes, and then usually just say yes to it because that's just how I talk. And maybe it's just the art of persuasion or something. I don't know. But like everyone has their own style of communication, and this is just happens to be mine. Every time I talk, it sounds like I'm bargaining with you. Yeah, telling you to take some sort of bait as if you were a fish and I was the fisherman. But goodness, like, does that have implications as well? But I don't know. Not to the layman or the uninitiated, if there is such a thing. But I guess that's where like more advanced communications come in. So, yeah. Regardless, I think it'd be wise to consider like how much thinking we're doing per minute, because like Google search queries can become really fancy and you can like communicate them in a certain way that Google happens to like stuff, and like it's just like slow it down. I'll just slow it down. I think I've been using Google way too much. It's not even Google Gemini or Google AI mode, but like simply using Google and going down a rabbit hole to like literally a rabbit hole, literally like an information dive, an info dump, mind you, an info dump, just like constantly just going on and on about a certain topic and practicing just a speak, you know. Now I'm going into like 1984 territory, just like saying like stuff like conversating about lingo or jargon that was used commonly throughout that book. I'm obsessed with that book in ways that you cannot imagine, and I fear that we live in a world. Sorry, I pushed the mic. That this world is becoming a little too realistically dystopian for me, and I guess that's why AI use is kind of questionably, or even morally strange, because like now we can just use AI in ways to consume information and receive information in ways like we have never have done before, and like curtailing these specific AI prompts to make ourselves sound a little more human is kind of like the irony here. But like particularly when someone thinks or is accused of using AI, I use AI all my life. I use Google. Before AI were the search engines. Search engines were my best friend. I had Google AI, search Google search engines. Well, why I'm feeling so sad, why I'm feeling like I'm better off like moving away or something, or feel asking why, what to do when I feel stuck in life, or why I feel like I'm not stable. Stuff like that. It's questions like that. Just being perfectly honest with Google and like literally just telling it its problems while receiving back its feedback. Receiving feedback on how immersive an experience a deep dive into Google could be. And that was the problem with me growing up. I was way too chronically online, and I know someone like me, and it's just like I don't know. I chose to instead of like hating Google or hating the work, I just decided to fall in love with it. To be honest, it's literally a her situation. It's a her situation. The movie Her. So and so yeah, I don't even know if using Google or thinking a certain way can make me look a certain way. I don't even know if consuming information a certain way could even make me like look or appear or present differently. So honestly, like getting it down to the minute details could be the very reason why I'm just queer. But that's just putting an easy label on it, and you're not gonna want to hear that. Most people are not gonna want to hear that because I know my audience. Or I think I know my audience. I'm not trying to make anyone gay, but like goodness, like I'm just trying to help people think, if anything, think a certain way and think critically about certain things. And like goodness, like does it become hard? It becomes so hard, like it's crazy. It goes so hard. I don't know. I says it goes hard. It goes hard. That's like common like modern vernacular on like how like people like say like common lingo nowadays. Lingo, like I don't know what the origin of that word is, but like vernacular that much more, very much more so understand. Um, lingo, yeah. I mean, you can tell how lonely of a kid I was back then, but I somehow got lodged into the cool kids regardless. We got to play outside, granted, but um, you know, we got to play outside, but you know, you know. We had to play outside, but like the younger kids that followed soon after, really want to call this age group Millennials, lodged between the Zoomers and the Millennials that still got to play outside. These guys did not have a life that was defined by iPads and like tablets and YouTube and chronic YouTube usage and phone game usage and whatnot. There's still kids out there who follow a different path, and that's where different parenting styles come in, and that's probably where the input source comes in. But regardless, it's whatever, whatever. Yeah, many people are thankfully receptive to how you and I want to communicate, and it's sometimes very wrong of me to use such words to such complex words that I don't really understand myself. And I did this not to like fix my hair or anything, but I actually did this to like communicate a serious belief. But maybe that just needs to stop. Maybe I just need to stop using nonverbal communication, so as not to confuse anybody. To prove people that I am a human being, it's like goodness, like what information are you even receiving? Like, isn't this if it's true that people can send feedback through their minds, like that's a boundary that not many cross, just sort of for the sake of it. If that all is true, and our brain chemistry is able to send electrical signals that pulse through like space, I guess. And it's just like if we're able to send communications via some sort of like neurology or something, electrical brain waves that our brains receive from other living human beings, or living beings, even animals as well, I guess. And it's just like, what the hell's going on then? Are there more people like me out there, or am I just the only one? This experience is so unique, and it's so like unguided and so untested, and I truly feel like I'm the only one who's like experiencing all this. What do I do? What do I do? I just gotta leave. Being heralded as some sort of like celestial figure, some divine figure, is like not it though. I'm as human as you are. I want to be human. Goodness. Maybe that's what's convenient right now. Just explaining my beliefs. Maybe that's what's the barrier to entry that most people feel, is like the fact that they feel like they need to suddenly go into divinity and ask, why, God, why, or something like that. Why? You know? And I'm not taking a sip just to like symbolize some sort of like baptismal like practice. But goodness, does it get intrusive? Does it get annoying? Yes, it does get annoying. It's like move on to the next trend. Like, oh, I don't know, but sometimes we just like repetition, which I totally get. But then again, it's just like, I don't know nowadays. I don't know nowadays if I can follow the scripts anymore that I already have, and I don't know if anything will change. I don't know if there will be more barriers to entry, you know, with gatekeeping and whatnot. People often use the term gatekeeping as a term associated with Reddit, I think. There's a pocket of people who believe that Reddit is full of people who just can't, are largely dissatisfied with their lives, and largely just want to share information. I don't know, maybe it's a more personal projection, what I just said initially, my initial thoughts of Reddit. Oh, goodness, this just seems like I'm being challenged somewhat, but sometimes I just want to like sulk and like just talk to myself and just like ramble on and on about nothing, thinking nothing about of anything, and changing nothing at all is like probably the best course of action, because again, I hate to blame society for failing me and flunking me out of school and rejecting me and kicking me out and putting me through so much as the friendly schizophrenic person that I am. But like, goodness, does it sound tough to like understand? Like, if I were to ever have a shot at a normal life again, it'd probably be in like spaces in which people like are freely able to be able to talk freely, and like artistically, and like, you know, just like, I don't know, it's just like this is artful thinking. It's not really logical. This isn't really kind of logical thinking. And this is not my space. This is not my space to. This is not my field to like delegate in. Maybe someone, I don't know, could fucking learn about that shit, but maybe I can learn about that shit, but like I know a little too much right now at the moment. I feel overwhelmed. Honestly, like I just need a break. That's all. I'm not saying that I need a break in my routine or a break in my thinking or anything like that. I know I look good at this camera angle, but like you can see my cheekbones here. There's a contour fade here that I can use as a guide to like, like discover my facial features and whatnot. But like, goodness, this doesn't feel like a cliche. Yes, a cliche that's been overplayed. Yes, this is just how technology. This is just how technology feels, and this is what fun could be like in the future. So, if this gives anyone help, if it spoils anyone, then yes, I'm sorry. I don't mean to spoil anyone. I don't even know what spoiling means, to be honest. I think spoiling means like it's gone bad or something, traditionally speaking. But the understanding I had of the word spoiled growing up is that we want to spoil our kids, some kind of like connotation like that. We want to spoil them. We want to spoil them, like spoil them as in like get everything, give everything that they'd ever want in their lives, like say yes to whatever they want and need. And turns out spoiling kids is actually a decent approach to like, nah, I'm kidding. That's a fucking opinion that probably isn't qualified to be taken seriously. I'm not saying that as a challenge, but like, goodness, does it go on and on? I can go on and on about anything and everything, but this is not your standard therapy session. This is more like, never mind. I'm done. Anyways, the time is 7:55 a.m. The date is the 10th of February 2026, and I hope you all have a nice rest of your day.